Okay, guys, today I want to talk to you guys exactly what we'll be doing week 5. So in terms of the book, it's going to be really basic and simple. You're just going to want to work on the chapter questions, so just chapters 8 through 10. So we're talking about pages 165 to 198 and pages 209 to 225. So all you have to do really is read those pages and answer these questions. The questions are really basic, really the questions I have comprehensive questions as well as analytical questions. So just make sure you answer each of these questions totally, with complete sentences, etc. Okay, so don't just read the first part. What do rivalries look like in Harriman? Read the second question and third question and make sure you answer these questions. Basically, I'm looking for 2 to 3 sentences, 2 to 4 sentences for each answer. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the first thing. I'm not going to go more in detail with that because it's really basic. It's just for you to practice your reading skills and really get prepared to do the final assessment on Friday Night Lights. The thing I want to focus on today, though, is your sports debates. So last week, so week 4, you guys focused on picking a debate topic. And this week, you're going to focus on creating a draft for your argument. So we're going to start with introductions, right? Because that is really where you would start anywhere. And so introductions for arguments can look a lot different based on the topic, based on the subject, and based on the format. Because our format is a sports debate, that means that we can be a little bit informal, right? We can kind of expound exactly how we would do an introduction. And so today I wanted to show you guys that there's a whole bunch of different techniques that you could use for your introductions in your podcasts. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to click on File here, and you're going to want to make a copy. And when you make a copy, it is going to open up the document here. It's going to look like this, okay? So here's exactly what I want you to do. So in this assignment, you're going to research different techniques on how to start a debate. And you're going to research those techniques from the website that's linked here in the document. So all you do is click on that document, and you're going to click on the link, and it's going to pop open, okay? So you will have this website open for you to use. So the idea is this website goes over about 8 different techniques that you can possibly use in your own podcast. But we're going to focus on 5. So the 5 techniques that we're going to focus on that you could possibly use in your own podcast is amplification, personalization, question, quotation, and story. Okay. So the idea here is to get a good grasp on what each of these techniques would entail, and then decide from there what technique you want to use to do your own introduction. So for example, the very first technique is amplification. And what you would do is you would go to this website when it says amplification here, right? So I would read all of this on amplification, and then I would watch this video. Now, I'm not asking you to watch the whole video. If you look in the document, I just tell you to watch 48 seconds of the video. And then after you watch the video, tell me 5 characteristics of that video, of that technique. So here's the 5 characteristics of amplification, right? You take something far-fetched to make it seem real. You show that your speech is serious. You surprise your audience. You challenge their expectations. And you make the speech more familiar. Okay, so I ask you to basically define that technique, and then I ask you to create an example of it. So you guys are going to be practicing with this document. You're going to be practicing with the claim, dieting is an unhealthy way to lose weight. So for each of these techniques, you're required to define the technique and then practice that technique using the claim, dieting is an unhealthy way to lose weight. So for this first one, I take the idea of amplification, and I'm taking the claim that dieting is an unhealthy way to lose weight. And so then I write this example here. So I say 100 million people die every year from unhealthy dieting. It should really just be 100,000 people. The reasons for this are diverse and complex. However, did you know that we have an easy, less stressful, and funner way to lose weight? It's called living a healthy lifestyle. So again, the idea of amplification is I take something and I kind of use like a hyperbolic sort of way to introduce it, and then I surprise you, and as well as I put my claim within my opener. Okay, so that's an example of using amplification. So the very first one you're going to do is you're going to look for the technique of personalization. So you're going to go back to the website. So you don't have to do sensory technique. You would go down to personalization. You would read about personalization here. Watch the video. You only have to watch the video up to 55 seconds. You then define the technique and then write an example of personalization using the claim that dieting is an unhealthy way to lose weight. Okay, and then you'll do the same thing for a question, quotation, and story. And then the most important part is right here. So after you've done all those 5 techniques, you then can use you can practice and use your own claim for your own speech, right? So not your speech, sorry, but your podcast. Okay, so for example, my podcast, the one I'm doing on, is the biggest bust in sports history. And so the technique I really like is the story technique. Okay, not story technique. Sorry, I meant question technique. It's right here. So question technique usually involves asking a question to begin. So some of the things that I said, if you look here, I say, let me just copy it over here. I wrote it down. So under the question, I say, what does failure look like in sports? Because if we are honest, most fail in professional athletics. For example, there are 32 teams in the NFL, yet only one team wins the championship every year. In essence, this means 31 teams fail spectacularly each season. So is that failure? Or does something only constitute failure if the expectations were different, higher, astronomical? Today I want to talk about the greatest, most creative, unfathomable, beautiful sports bust in history. Today I want to talk about Jamarcus Russell. So my sports topic is sports bust, and my claim, if you can see it in there, is that Jamarcus Russell is the biggest sports bust in sports history. Okay, so that is an example of question technique. So after you guys do each of these different techniques, you're going to pick which technique you want to use for your own sports debate podcast. Okay. So do all of this, research all the different techniques, and then finish up by doing your own technique. Okay. If you have questions, that's why I'm here. You can email me or you can come into class. But I think you guys are gonna like this project. Just make sure you do this research because it's gonna really help you figure out exactly what you want to say for your project. Okay, guys, have a good day.